It Out Loud, a podcast by Chasing the Rainbows with your host, Bernice Quisenberry.
Some babies are here for only a moment, yet leave an impact that lasts a lifetime. Today's episode is all about love. It's all about grief. And it's about the ways baby can continue changing our lives even after loss. 8 months ago, Celeste and Hannes Ringoot experienced every parent's worst nightmare, the stillbirth of their daughter, Ellory. And while nothing can prepare someone for that kind of heartbreak, what happens after loss is something that many people don't talk enough about. How does grief show up differently for a mother and a father? How does stillbirth change your relationship, your identity, your future? And how do you continue living while carrying unimaginable heartbreak? For Celeste and Hannes, part of that answer has been movement, purpose, and honoring Ellory's life in a deeply meaningful way. Through a monthly international running campaign of marathons to raising awareness around stillbirth and baby loss. Today, we're honored to hold space for Ellory's story and for the way she continues to shape her parents' lives, marriage, and mission. Celeste and Hannes, thank you for trusting us with your story and for allowing us to honor Ellory with you today.
Thank you so much for having us. We're really excited to be here with you.
Absolutely. Yes, we're excited for our listeners to hear. So before we dive into the most important, which is Ellory, we would love to hear about your, relationship, how you guys met, how you fell in love, what that looked like and how you built this life together.
It's quite a story.
It is.
So let me take you back 8.5 years, almost 9,
Wow.
back to Cape Town, South Africa. That is where on November 25th we stepped willingly into a van that took us on a weekend-long safari, and by the end of the safari we clicked.
Yep.
And I was in South Africa for 6 months. You were there for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We met during halfway your term.
Yep.
Also halfway mine, actually, because I was in month 3. And we kept in touch afterwards. And when I came back home, which was in January, I was home for 2 days. And then I told my parents, I'm off to America.
Wow.
And I had a 2-week-long trip. What was that? I landed in Atlanta. And then we spent some time in the southern, Blue Ridge Mountains.
Yeah. But this is after only having known each other a week in South Africa.
Yeah. We spent together a week, and then we stayed in touch. And then I went to from South Africa to Belgium, and then 2 weeks in America.
Yeah. And then from there, it was basically just back and forth, long distance. I had just started PA school. You were still in school. So on our breaks, he would come to America, I would go to Belgium, or we would meet somewhere else in the world and we'd visit. And we did that for 4 years, long distance.
Wow. That is unheard of these days.
When looking back at it, I would be like, how did we do it?
Right.
But we managed, and here we are.
Yeah. COVID put a little bit of a hiccup in all that because it restricted us from being able to see each other. But I had a crazy idea. I was done with school. Croatia was one of the few countries that was allowing Americans in, and it's in Europe. So I knew he would be able to. So I just called him one day and I was like, want to go spend 3 months in Croatia? Because that's how long we can go on our visas. And so we did that. And
we cycled around Croatia for 3 months.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness. The sacrifices that you've had to make and that communication and everything that goes on with a long distance relationship.
Oh yeah.
It was commitment.
It really was.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it all worked out in the end.
Sure did.
And so then it was in 2021 that I moved to the US. I was a travel guide back in the day, and so I flew to Costa Rica, Panama to do a guided tour, and I was the guide. And then from there, I made my way to the US. So Yeah, it was easier that way.
And then we got married in January 2022 out in the Smoky Mountains. Small little intimate wedding, just our family.
Yep.
Oh, so beautiful. Wow. Wow. So, oh my goodness. So then you guys got married. And then what did it look like when you were discussing then wanting to have a family together and all of that?
That's a question we don't always get.
Right?
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it even dating, but we were both in school and long distance, so it was hard to, I think, at least for me, imagine that
Right.
timeline because we were just trying to figure out how we were going to come together.
Yeah.
But you always said you wanted to be a young dad.
And here we are. I'm 30
But
now, so
timeline didn't really work out that way. But yeah, I don't know when we.
yeah, we got married in January, and then I was not allowed to work for at least a year and a half, waiting on my work permit. So then we took the opportunity to move to upstate New York. And when I say upstate New York, we could see Canada, like physically see Canada across the river. We were 6.5 hours from New York City. So that's how far, way up north that we were. And we spent the summer and fall up there before we decided, or we knew we were going to come back to Raleigh. And so I think it was then when we bought a house and settled down that we started
talking more about it
and really going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we just live such a fast-paced life. I feel like that it took a while until we were like able to settle down the house, get it renovated before we were like, all right, now let's do this.
Yes. Well, and working out so many different things for you to stay here in America, right? And be able to work and provide and all of those things too, alongside of each other. There's so many. And when you're saying about that year and a half long process, there's a lot that entails in that and paperwork and all of that too. So that's not an easy process.
Bringing a child to the equation doesn't make it easier now.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, oh my goodness. Yeah. And then once you settled back down in Raleigh, and you renovated your house, got settled, then that was when, you guys decided. And were you through school then?
Yeah, we both were. Yeah, we were working full-time jobs.
That's great.
But it took us over a year to get pregnant with Ellory. So it was still quite a journey from the time that we were like, all right, let's start trying, to the time it actually happened, which was a little discouraging, especially as we got farther and farther out from the starting.
Absolutely. I know it's not easy to get pregnant for a lot of us and trying to figure that out and, going through tracking and all of that. It's not what we think that we're going to experience when we're starting out that family.
No, some people it happens right away.
Right. And we were, thinking of it too much. It wasn't until we were like nearly approaching the year when I saw my doctor and was telling her, and she's like, maybe let's start tracking, let's get some labs. And then it was more on my mind because I'm also just having to track it all the time. So I'm like thinking about it all the time.
Yes, it's right in the forefront. Absolutely. So tell us about Ellory's journey and what that was like getting pregnant with her and carrying her and all of that.
I'll leave that to you because you did all that work.
Yeah, we found out in December 2024.
Yep.
And I kind of already had an idea or a thought that I was pregnant. We took a test. It was kind of anticlimactic because we were like, okay, yeah. And also I had a miscarriage a couple months before that. So we were also kind of just like, well, we'll see what happens this time.
Yeah.
So I think it took a while, at least for me, to get like really excited about it. And I didn't have symptoms for the first 6 weeks. And then it really hit me. All the symptoms of first trimester, just being really tired, being constantly nauseous, no major vomiting, which was nice. But first trimester kicked my butt, and then
Smooth sailing after that.
Smooth sailing after that. Yeah, I had a great pregnancy. I didn't feel her kick for the first time till 20 weeks, so that was on the later side, but I did have an anterior placenta, which they said was probably the reason.
Yeah.
But you also felt her kick around the same time I first felt her kick too.
Mine was in April, so
the day before.
The day before my first 10 miles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh.
I thought you wanted to say more on that.
No, yeah. The night before I ran my first 10 miles, that's when I felt her for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I mean, my pregnancy was healthy. I was low risk. It was very textbook. No issues really the entire time. I didn't really have those like major aches and pains or discomfort that I feel like a lot of people complain about even into third trimester. I'm like still outside doing yard work and shoveling and rock climbing. Like I was feeling great.
Yeah.
The only thing that was flagged was I was measuring small. And so after a few weeks of like consistently measuring small, they decided to do a growth scan, but they said, oh, she's measuring fine. So there's no need to worry about anything. And that was a month before her stillbirth.
Mm. Oh my goodness.
But I was 40 weeks one day. We had an induction scheduled. It was on the books. And I just remember thinking like, oh, this, next weekend for sure, we will have a baby here in this house.
Right.
You just don't think that there's any other outcome.
Absolutely.
But 40 weeks one day, the day after her due date, I was home. I was off of work by this time. And I felt her kick the night before her normal dance party. That morning was feeling her move, but was feeling like some back pain and some cramping. And I was just thinking, oh, I'm in early labor, and feeling kind of tired, was trying to get some rest, took a nap that morning, woke up, had lunch, felt her move, and then was just doing stuff upstairs. And I just had this feeling wash over me of like, you should get her to move. Even though when I was thinking about it, I was like, I've only felt her move an hour ago. Like, it's fine. But there was something in me like, just prompt her to move. And so I was doing like the position changes, eating spoonfuls of Nutella. And I was just so anxious. Like, I would eat a spoonful of Nutella and in like 10 seconds, I'm like, why isn't she moving? Even though it would take her like 30, 45 minutes sometimes to move with these things. I was just super anxious. And so after 30 minutes, I called him and I was like, something is not right. And we went to the ER and it had been 2 hours at that point by her last movement, but there was no heartbeat.
Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh. In those moments, oh my goodness, there just aren't words. And no parent should ever experience hearing that. Thank you for sharing that.
It was just kind of like, what do you mean there's no heartbeat? Like, I just felt her.
Yes.
2 hours ago.
Yes.
Everything's been fine this whole pregnancy. Like what do you mean,
Exactly.
It also makes you think twice because both of us have been like preparing for pregnancy for a year. Like both her and I quit drinking, no alcohol, making sure she has the right food or avoids the certain foods. Just being healthy, being outdoor, eating healthy, all that kind of stuff. Basically textbook, following every single recommendation. And then you hit this kind of tragedy that puts those health measures in perspective to an extent, because it's like, okay, even though you follow every single recommendation, it doesn't guarantee a healthy baby in the end. And this is no medical advice, obviously, but it does put your efforts very much in perspective.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it's, I think sometimes, I know for myself, when we were going through losses and things like that, miscarriage, right, is more talked about, the early term loss, and not that it makes it any easier or anything like that. But you think then, at least, I don't know if you guys felt the same way, past 12 weeks, you're like, okay, we're good. Like, no one really talks about stillbirth. Like, you don't really hear about that until after, until we become a lost parent, and then, or infant loss, or like things like this. If you're going through a healthy pregnancy, after those 12 weeks, you're like, okay, we're good. And it's shockingly traumatic.
Yeah.
I mean, there just aren't words.
We haven't experienced it ourselves yet. When we had a few people on our podcast that have, but now the next pregnancy, it's gonna be stressing up until 40 weeks one day, because I mean that is our baseline right now. It's like, what is gonna happen after 40 weeks?
Right. I mean, there are people who have had even late term pregnancy losses, 32, 34, 35 weeks, whatever. And it's like, once they pass that milestone, they feel better. And I'm like, I won't pass that milestone.
No.
I won't get to 40 weeks one day with another pregnancy. It's just going to be
it's going to be a constant
worry.
Yes.
I guess we'll see. We'll share our stories on our podcast once we hit that.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Well, pregnancy after loss, just in and of itself, is exactly, because you're reliving your trauma all over again, especially if, like, just to speak for myself, not knowing anything was wrong, and what sounds like, you guys didn't have anything wrong with your pregnancy. So it just made me question everything, like, what is this, do I not know something's wrong again? Those kind of things. But having a great care team, having great doctors, we have support here for you when that happens, and we're here for you. But yeah, it does, I know it's the unknown. And once we're on that bottom end of the statistic, it's not like, people say, like, lightning doesn't strike twice. And it's like, you can't say that to someone who's now been in that, less than this percent, in the 1 in 4, because we know and we're aware of everything that can go wrong, and pregnancies aren't easy for everyone.
Very much so. And the biggest frustration now is, so we're considered high risk.
Yes.
And the reason I'm doing like this is because the risk that we are associated with is not even tracked, aka a small placenta. So now we've been pushed in this group of, we need to monitor you more. But the reason why we are pushed in this group is not even assessed.
Yeah,
it's like having a very rare cancer. That's what I want to make the analogy to. Like, having a very rare cancer, it healed, and you go back a couple of years later to test it again to this facility, and they're like, oh yeah, we're not testing this particular cancer, but we do all the other ones. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't care about the other ones.
Yeah.
Because I need this particular cancer to be screened. That's the analogy I like to make sometimes.
Yeah, so we were initially told Ellory's stillbirth was unexplained. They couldn't find any reason for why. And it was ultimately my own research that I figured out the cause, took it to our team, and they wouldn't even sit down and talk with us about the fact that I found that she had a small placenta, and that, I wasn't trying to call them out on anything. I just really had questions. We just wanted to talk to them. What causes small placenta? Like, all this stuff. Wouldn't talk to us. We reached out to Dr. Kleiman at Yale, who confirmed, yes, she has a small placenta. He sent a whole report to our team. They decided after they received that report, they would meet with us, but it did not go well at all. They did not want to talk to us. They were not even there to entertain the conversation.
They didn't even look at its results.
Yes, you want those answers. We want closure. Like, we want to understand things, because this is all we have left of our babies. Like, can you please just sit down with us and explain what happened here, what we can prevent for next time? Like, it's a slew of everything. It's a lot of emotions, and it's, the care team, like, they're also, they were a part of your story. So you would think, and journey, so that they would be there for you and just give you that peace of mind. That's really what we want, is to understand that unexplained. Yeah. We could probably do a whole next episode on that.
And even though it is explained right now, and Dr. Kleiman confirms it again, even though we talk to other OP clinics, their definition of explained is, even though we know it's a small placenta, we don't know what about the small placenta, because there are a couple reasons why a small placenta, and that reason is not explained. But then to me, it's like, I don't need to know all the 25 reasons that a small placenta can happen. I just need to know the small placenta. Measure this, and we're good for the next time.
Yeah, but measuring the placenta is not a standard of care in obstetrics, and so it's really hard to find a provider who wants to assess that in the pregnancy. Like, that was a cause of Ellory stillbirth, but still doctors are like, no, we're not going to measure the placenta, despite there being a tool there to use. It's easy, simple, no risk. Meanwhile, they're recommending additional monitoring, ultrasounds, and invasive procedures during a next pregnancy, versus we could just do a non-invasive 2D measurement of the placenta during the pregnancy, and that's all we really need to know. Why would we do something invasive when we have something non-invasive? But it's really hard to find providers who will do that.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting, the standards of care and how they follow those? Because this would give you so much more if they would also monitor and measure your placenta as you're going through, how much peace of mind that would give. And not that we are ever at full peace of mind or anything like that with pregnancy after loss, not claiming that, but just in those moments. And even now that you're researching a team, right? Trying to find someone for your next level of care is so important, because your life and your baby's life are in their hands. So, so many times it's trying to find the right ones, and for them just to shut the door on it, and not even if it's not invasive, it's easy. It's just an extra step with a 2D ultrasound. Why not? Why does that not make sense? Especially if this is what they found to be the cause.
I mean, we know the reasons why. We shall not discuss those on this podcast, but
no. And I mean, I hope that you guys do find someone to provide that level of comfort for you all, to find in your next, not that it ever takes away the pain of Ellory or anything like that. And losing her. Oh my goodness. I would love for us to talk about, your marriage, how you both grieved, how you came together, what that looks like. And also, what you're doing to honor her and remember her. Would love to also talk about all of the international marathons.
Wow, that's a story in itself. First, how our grieving process worked. Yes. So it's been 9 months right now, and we've gone 9 months. Yeah, and so we've gone through a couple stages, and also a few seasons, quite literally, and those bring certain emotions with them as well, aka winter depression. So Ellory passed in August, which was the heat of the summer, quite literally here in Raleigh, and the first couple days. So she was born on a Friday. We got home on a Saturday, and that first week, I mean, you can't do anything. I mean, I can't even explain.
Yeah.
Driving, I don't even know how we drove home safely.
You're just like, all right, it's time to go. You're put in a car. We had a car seat in the back that was empty, and you just go home, and it's just kind of like, wait, what?
Many people jokingly are like, "Oh, we're walking out of the hospital with a baby," and I'm like, "Well, that's it. We left to our own with this fragile little human being." And the opposite is and there's not even a comparison between the two. No. I mean, going home without a baby. How we got home safely, that's the question. Yeah. And then being home, there was just.
You're not really thinking clearly. And you're coming home to all the reminders. Like, I had the swing downstairs already. We had the bassinet next to my side of the bed with my postpartum cart with diapers and my breastfeeding or pump stuff with snacks and drinks for me. We had stuff in the bathroom ready to go. I had on the counter downstairs in the kitchen bottles that had just been sterilized that day, or the day before we left for the hospital, that I was sterilizing pacifiers and bottles. Those were still on the counter. So you're just walking into a house with all the reminders of what there isn't anymore.
Absolutely.
No, I have to say, as painful as that is, it is also what is it? A process to go through. Meaning, in the hospital, they were like, "Oh, we can take her away as quick as possible." It's like, no, or "Oh, we can put her in the coffin. We can just take her. We can take care of it." I'm like, no, I only have 12 hours with my daughter. I want to experience pain, how weird that sounds, because it's the only 12 hours of pain that I will ever be able to experience. And so even afterwards, taking the car seat out, moving everything away, it is extremely painful, but it is closure.
Yeah.
Which is which you don't want. You don't want closure, but there's that two parts of your brain that says I don't want this, and the other one says you kind of should, because you will regret down the line that you didn't do it.
Yes.
And that was a click in my head that had very active. I mean, I want to go through the pain because I will otherwise regret not doing any of this. And that was something that I pushed for. I can't say if it was too hard for you, because I wanted you to do the same. Obviously, I never forced you to, but I did want you to find closure in your way too, or at least present the opportunity. And I think that way, how weird it might sound, that allowed us to make quick process in our grief.
Yeah.
At least for the first month, when the grief is the heaviest, I feel like that allowed us to find our feet again.
Yeah, we just wanted to be like full in the grief, feel everything, just sit in it, go through everything. We did have two incredible friends from Arizona who, one of my best friends from college, I actually know both of them from college, but you called them from the hospital when I was having contractions. So I didn't end up needing to get induced after finding out she didn't have a heartbeat. I went into labor naturally. So I do think I was in early labor all that morning. But we called them and they were, of course, at a loss too. They're like, "What do you need?" And we're just like,
I don't know.
we don't know. And next thing we know, they like text us. They're like, "Our flights are booked. We'll be there tomorrow." So they were here at our house when we came home from the hospital, which I think just made all the difference in the world. They went out and got us. They asked what we wanted for dinner. I wanted sushi. That was so they went and bought us sushi. They picked up the car from the hospital because we had two cars there since we drove separately to the ER. So they got our car and they were here that whole weekend with us. They looked through all the photos that the professionals had taken in the hospital of Ellory with us. They cried with us. They laughed with us. I think that's another thing about like the grief is it wasn't like we were crying all balled up all weekend long. Like we were sharing stories about pregnancy because my friend was pregnant at the time. We were sharing stories about our birth experience, which was really amazing because we stuck to our original birth plan and we had a great ending to the journey. And so we were laughing and smiling in the same weekend that we were crying and grieving.
Yes.
Grief is very complex.
Oh yeah, it very much is.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And two things can be true at once, like still finding laughter and joy in a devastating moment and feeling that grief and the trauma and everything that you were experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing was, because I was 40 weeks in one day, everyone was anticipating a baby any day now.
Yeah.
And so we had to be really quick with making calls to people.
Yeah,
and
Ellory was born 11 p.m. and I didn't go to bed until 6 a.m. because I just called everybody that I think. Also because Europe is 6 hours ahead of us, and so by the time Ellory or Celeste was cleaned up and Ellory was put in her little bed, by that time Europe was waking up. so I could just transition into continuing the grief and just sharing the story 25 times, quite literally. And yeah, I think by the end of that weekend, it was something had not changed, but like found its place. Meaning, we were still calling people because you can't call everybody at 6 a.m. in the morning. But at that point, or at least I, got so accustomed with the story, and I did my spiel, as you want to call it, and yeah, it became easy. I don't want to say that, but that's the best way to describe it. It became kind of easy to just explain it without having to cry every single word, and that helped too. So I guess the point is just a quick attack on the items at hand, and that made it very easy to transition into the next step. We didn't have to explain to people what happened too many times after that weekend. Yeah. So everybody that was important and close to us knew. So then the next block was everybody knows. So nobody is like, oh, where's the baby? And I'm like,
yeah, because we were already getting text about, have you had that baby yet? Our neighbor was yelling from across the street one afternoon, did you have that baby? Like over and over. And I was just standing there like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we just, instead of like waiting for more texts to come through, more calls, we just made those calls. But it was also hard because most people's first reaction was, oh, hey, like they're excited. They're expecting us to be like, we had a baby, and we did, but not in the...
We didn't bring it home.
Yeah.
So advice to other parents, if you are capable, well, we'll see how you feel in that moment, but that was helpful for us to just get it out of the way, kind of deal. There's the kitty.
Oh. So when you got home and you had your friends there and you started to grieve and started in the hospital, having that time with Ellory and everything, what did those early days, weeks, months after feel like for you both? It's hard to put into words, and I know that. Absolutely. But how did you guys work together? Yeah.
We're transitioning into fall then too, which is one of our favorite seasons anyway.
Yeah.
So we like going to the mountains, which we did. We just went a week away in the mountains
to reset. Yeah. I was on maternity leave for 3 months still, but I couldn't be home by myself for most of that. So he worked at a co-working station, so it was lucky enough that the manager there like knew what happened, and she was like, you're welcome here anytime. And so I would just join him to work. And that way, if I like had a moment and just started crying, which was every day, he would just come out and hold me.
Yeah. So that was important.
Yes.
Yeah. But then still going out, still doing things that not necessarily keep you busy, but keep you busy and cheer you up. For me, that was climbing, that was running. So keeping true to those activities was important to us. The garden is obviously a thing that is important to us too, because we have a big garden and we love doing it.
Yeah. Anything that I could do like in honor of Ellory, like we created a little garden out by our mailbox, and I painted a sign. It says Ellory's garden, and we have like her birth flower that we planted in there. And so that like really gave me purpose in my time off on maternity leave, but also like helped me channel all my grief into something more positive too, because that's been our whole thing this whole time is, although losing Ellory is really sad and devastating, we don't want that negativity to just surround this whole experience, because we still had a great pregnancy. We still have great memories of her, a great birth experience. And that's what we want to choose to remember and not just focus on the loss.
Absolutely. That is so beautifully put, Celeste. Thank you. Yes, it's so true though. It's, focusing on her life and her, being and all of that, and not necessarily, on the worst day. Absolutely. That is so beautiful that you're channeling that and doing that in her garden, Ellory's garden. Oh my goodness. And what is her birth flower?
It's gladiolus and poppies.
Oh, how beautiful. Oh, that's fantastic. So, yeah, and just bringing up Haynes, what you were saying about, running, staying active, moving, climbing, all of those. What made you choose running to honor Ellory and the world to know who she is?
Yeah, that's a good question. So for 2025, I had the glamorous New Year's resolution to run a marathon.
Yeah.
I am outdoorsy, very outdoorsy. When we were in upstate New York, I climbed all 46 peaks. There is this park called the Adirondack, and there is a challenge in the Adirondack to climb all 46 peaks that are above 4,000 feet. And that's a whole community, and there are different kind of challenges. And so I, in 3 months, hiked all 46. Half of them in the winter, which was even more adventurous. But so that to say, I'm very active and I like a challenge. And so in Raleigh, there's not too many mountains. There's not too many crazy things to do. So I thought, let's finally put my marathon on the schedule, because I had it for a couple of years. And so yeah, in January I started running, and in April I did my first 10K, or my first 10 miles.
Yeah.
And so the night before that race, I felt Ellory kick for the first time. Yeah. So that was a sign. Yeah. And then I didn't have a race again until the marathon, which was in November. It's the City of Oaks Marathon here in Raleigh. And so I trained all through the summer, and yeah, I was intending to run my marathon with Celeste and Ellory on the sidelines cheering me on. But from August on, even during the toughest part of my training, when I did all the long distances, that changed into running for my little daughter. And especially when Celeste found out the cause, that was even more of a reason to run, to show people that that's a thing. A small placenta can indeed kill your little one. And so when I ran my first marathon in November, it wasn't fully a good experience, I can tell you that much. I made a few mistakes.
Yes, there's a lot that goes into it.
And there's a lot that goes into it. I finished, but I had to walk the last 3 miles. So it wasn't, And as much as I love adventure,
that's fantastic.
I did finish, yes. Yeah, in 3 hours 45, which was still a decent time.
Still great. Absolutely. Even running a marathon, just to check, finishing it. Fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I thought, I have this momentum that I'm now on. When you're driving 80, you can just, without much gas, continue doing 80. And so I ran my marathon. So without much more training, I could continue running marathons. So I was like, okay, what if we do something around the placenta and the cause for Ellory's stillbirth? And I had the idea of doing something for charity. That was the goal. Because if you run a marathon, one of the goals is doing something for charity. That way you can bring people in. And then we met MTP, because you figured out placenta, and then you were like, oh, there's this organization called Measure the Placenta. Why don't we have a call with them and see what we can do with them? And they were quite immediately on board with us to have us use them as our charity to run my marathons with. And so that's when I started researching online one marathon every single month, put them in an Excel list, and here we are, 5 marathons in. Five done so far. The next one is in Minnesota, and then the one in July is going to be in Belgium, the one we organize ourselves. It's more like a cycling trip rather than a marathon. I'm running, but everybody else is cycling because not many people run a marathon. I can get that part. It's not fun. And so that's our own organized marathon. And then for August, we have something in the books that we're not telling yet. It's still a surprise, but you can subscribe to our social media, and for a small donation, we'll tell you personally how it is. But then, in the fall, we will do some more marathons in Raleigh and North Carolina. And that.
Absolutely. Oh, that's fantastic. Just raising awareness around Ellory, small placentas, all of that. Absolutely. We love Measure the Placenta. We found out about them through you guys, of course, have run in similar circles, Count the Kicks, Push Pregnancy, all the different ones. And and now meeting their team, doing great work with advocacy, of course. Can't get enough, like we say, educate to advocate, because you need to, right? And especially with these losses and different things that we deal with during baby loss, and making sure that this doesn't happen to others. That's what it's all about. So you running all around the U.S., internationally, everywhere, honoring, others can hear the story then and hopefully advocate for themselves too if something's measuring small, all of that. So you're making such huge impact with doing this. I hope you feel that so much.
It's been a great journey so far, and lots of traveling for it. Every place that we travel, I have been visiting OB clinics and sharing just education and research about preventable stillbirth and placental health. So just trying to spread the word from like a medical perspective. But then these marathons have also given us an opportunity to connect with other families of loss. At the Asheville Marathon in March, we got to put our flyers in all of the runners' bags. So it had like our campaign on one side and what we're doing, our story, and on the other side, just information about Measure the Placenta. And we had multiple people come up to us and ask us about our story, thank you, or saying thanks for what we're doing, sharing their own lost story. So it's
resonating. It's very fulfilling to see the smile on people's face.
The impact.
The impact.
It's feeling that sense of community, right? And feeling seen and heard, and that you're not alone in this, and hearing others and what you're doing. Absolutely. So this has been fantastic. So before we wrap up for today, if someone's listening who just lost their baby and feels like they'll never survive this pain, what would you want them to hear?
Oh, that's such a good question.
I know.
The one thing that I would say, it's not the end of your story. It might be the end of your child's story, but it's not yours. You and your partners allow each other space, accept the way that the other person is grieving, and it's not the end of your story.
And I think just remember and honor your baby in any way that feels right to you. And it's okay to break down and cry, but it's also okay to be laughing and sharing fun stories. It doesn't always have to be a negative thing.
Absolutely. Oh. Celeste and Hannes, thank you for sharing Ellory with us. What stands out so deeply in your story is that love does not end with loss. Ellory mattered, and her life matters, and the way you continue to honor her through movement, awareness, and simply speaking her name is just such a beautiful reminder that grief and love can coexist, and they can do that together. To anyone who has experienced stillbirth, pregnancy loss, or infant loss, your baby matters here. And if today felt heavy, please know you do not have to carry this alone. At Chasing the Rainbows, we offer a lot of free daily support services because grief doesn't follow a timeline and every loss matters. If this episode touched you, share it with someone who may need to hear it. Celeste and Hannes, thank you for letting us know Ellory. We will remember her with you. And until next time, this is Cried Out Loud. Thank you so much to both of you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.